Whoa, 10,000 subscribers. I'm honestly humbled. Thanks so much for clicking a small red button and making me feel like I have value. My ego is very happy. It's so happy that in this video, I won't even need to tell you that I have a girlfriend. This 5-digit number is enough for me today. The path hasn't always been easy though. I've mistyped Venomoth consistently, saying that it's a flying psychic type. The trading card game though has brought to my attention that it's actually a grass flying type. It has to be a flying type because look, it has wings. So I promise going forward that I'll always get this correct. I guess I should have been using ice moves against it all along. Because I suck at segues, thanks to all my patrons for supporting me and my content directly. I'm collecting the original 151 patrons, so if you want to be a part of this cool little credit sequence thing, consider joining. I really enjoy hearing your stories about growing up with Pokemon, so if you're reminded of any while watching the video, put them in the comments, which, by the way, I read all of. I'm eager to hear feedback, criticism, and suggestions. All of your ideas have really made my content so much better over the last 5 months. Thanks for contributing. If you like my content and want to support it in a really simple way, like, subscribe, make an algorithm comment, grab a dome fossil, and share this video with a friend. This one's going to be a different style than my usual challenge videos. I'll be narrating some of the fights and discussing how Mew is doing throughout the video, but interspersed between this regular content, I'll be answering your questions that you've submitted on my Patreon and my YouTube post. I won't get through all of them, but I'll try to answer as many as possible. Your questions might not get answered directly, but this is probably because I thought that an answer to another question covered yours anyways. Additionally, I'm going to let the footage play during this video, so you're going to get to see my full run. I usually make a lot of cuts, but today I wanted to show as much as possible. And again, I'm awful at writing segues, so over the past year I've been struggling with my computer situation. I purchased a new laptop to replace my 2010 desktop. I really wanted to be able to edit these videos on the go. However, this laptop has been a nightmare. I have, just this week, received the 4th replacement unit, and I'm not optimistic that it's gonna work. Because of this, I've started using my desktop again for editing. If you've noticed laggy footage, it's because I've been fighting a battle against hardware and software. In good news, this is the first run that I'm doing with a new emulator that seems to have fixed almost all of the issues. In addition to the new emulator, I wanted to try out several new video elements. The overlay now has the Pokemon's type, current moveset, and the number of attempts I've taken on a specific fight. I'm still working out how to update all this info while I'm filming, so expect it to feel a bit unpolished in this video. During the process of testing out all the different emulators there basically were under the sun, I basically tested every emulator in existence. I ended up playing the opening portion of the game until just after Brock 4 times with Mew. This gives me a lot of insight into how to defeat Brock. I defeat the rival at both early game locations, so he'll have Jolteon, and then I head to Viridian Forest where I train. Mew is only going to know Pound and Transform to fight Brock, but funny enough, these 2 moves are all you need. At level 13 or 14 this fight is possible. 12 will likely require many attempts and really good luck. 13 might require 3 or 4 fights, while 14 should be fairly consistent. Level 15 I think is probably over-leveling and would make the fight very easy. I'm trying to save time here, so I make the risky choice and attempt it at level 13. Against Geodude, you want to spam Pound and knock it out as fast as possible. Because Mew's base 100 speed gives it a roughly 20% critical hit rate, these really help. This fight, I only get 1. That's not the best luck. Against Onix, you'll be doing very little damage. The resources that must be conserved here are HP and PP. Ideally, spam Pound until Onix uses Bide. I used Transform first turn, which is a mistake. After that, we want to use 3 Screeches to lower Onix's defense as much as possible. From here, attack when Onix attacks, and use Bide when Onix uses Bide. I end up losing my first fight because of Onix chaining Bind too many times. On the second fight, things also aren't looking very good. I'm slowly running out of PP and Onyx is whittling my health down. I end up running out of PP entirely when I'm at 3 hit points and Onyx is in red health. I use Struggle and knock the Onyx out. Mew survives the recoil damage with 2 health. This was such a clutch ending to the fight. It was really fun defeating Brock with this strategy. I never thought that the moveset of Pound and Transform would be able to get past him at such a low level. On the next route, I experience a glitch I've never seen before. I choose to fight the optional Lass with a Jigglypuff. She uses Disable on Mew, and it disables Pound. Well, that's annoying, so I guess I'll switch into Transform and steal Jigglypuff's moves and defeat it with those. So then my new moveset is Sing, Pound, and Disable. But Sing this time is disabled because it's in the first move slot where Pound used to be. Okay, so I'll use the new Pound that I just got. But despite being able to select it and see its PP, the game still thinks it's disabled. So the only move that I can actually use is Disable. Luckily, Disable ends and I'm able to knock the Jigglypuff out. But this was really weird. Has anyone else experienced this one before? It's not common to have a Pokemon with Transform on your team, so that's probably why I've never seen this one. In Mount Moon, I take the Dome Fossil, as well as grabbing Water Gun and Mega Punch. Because Mew can learn every TM in the game, the next section of the playthrough is made trivial with access to Mega Punch, Water Gun, Bubble Beam, and Body Slam. Misty and Surge are really easy. So I'll take this time to answer some of your questions. The theme of this block of questions is Pokemon. Bet that's a big surprise to you. So the first question is, what is your favorite Pokemon generation? This changes all the time. I think for me, if you had asked me like 3 or 4 years ago, I probably would have said Generation 5 because I came back to it after a long break of not playing Pokemon. And the fact that there were no recurring Pokemon from the old games just made it seem so fresh. For the longest time though, it has been Generation 2. I really love the Johto games. And the fact that they're so long, you have to go back to Kanto and you fight right at the end. But right now I'm honestly loving Generation 1 a lot because I'm just learning so many of the neat quirky details about it. In addition to that, I also really enjoyed playing through Generation 7, so Sun and Moon. My girlfriend and I played those a lot together and it was like a really fun experience. If I had to select one generation over all the other generations, I'd probably still say Generation 2. What's your favorite Pokemon besides Butterfree? I had to think about this for a long time. I actually looked through the entire decks and realized that there are some Pokemon that I didn't even know existed, like the new legendaries that were added in the Crown Tundra. After going through the entire list though, I kind of settled on Golisopod, which is this really intimidating bug from Sun and Moon. I also really like the fact that it has a funny ability. Wimpod, its pre-evolution, has Wimp Out, which causes it to exit the battle when it goes below 50% health. And then it brings out another Pokemon on your team. But when it's Golisopod and it's all intimidating, it has something called Emergency Exit, which is the same thing, but makes it sound tactically interesting or useful. I played through with one in my first playthrough of Sun and Moon, and I just really got to love it during that playthrough. What's your favorite 6 Pokemon to beat Generation 1? Your best team? I typically played through Generation 1 as a kid, and I only used one Pokemon, so it was like typically only my starter or something like that. But if I had to make a team of 6 for a standard playthrough, I'd probably pick Fearow as my flyer because it gets Drill Peck, and you can catch it fairly early on. Venusaur would be my starter because I really like the Bulbasaur line. Kabutops would be my fossil because it has scythes for hands, like it's so cool. And I really enjoyed playing through with it in the Fossils race, which is coming up very soon. Nidoking, I like playing through the game as fast as possible, and this is obviously the speedrunning go-to Pokemon, and it's just really intimidating and really cool. So I think I'd pick Nidoking. The final 2 were a little bit hard for me to choose, but definitely Butterfree because I'm going to use it to beat Brock if I'm playing Yellow. I like the sprites in Yellow, so that's why I play Yellow so much. and it's probably going to stick around on my team for status conditions, at least to catch Pokemon for the rest of the game. Finally, I'd probably say Mewtwo, because it's hard not to have this thing when I was a kid. Like, it's so cool and it's so powerful, and you just like want to go to school and say like, hey, I've got this like super powerful Mewtwo Pokemon, bet you don't have it, that kind of thing. So probably Mewtwo. What Pokemon name have you been told you pronounce wrong, but are convinced that everyone else is pronouncing wrong? So usually when I get feedback, I just try and make a logical case for what the other person is telling me. If it checks out, I implement it. I got feedback that I was pronouncing Executor wrong, and I honestly really struggle reading its name during scripts now. Like, I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced. Executor or Executor? Like, I'm not sure. I also can't figure out how to pronounce Ilex Forest or Elix Forest? Ilex Forest? Like, many of you have commented about the pronunciations, but they all seem to be different suggestions, so I'm just not sure. In the most recent script that I'm writing for Quillfish, I just said like the forest instead of trying to get the pronunciation right. To answer your actual question though, when I was a kid, I used to pronounce Rattata as Ratatata. So I was so convinced that it was correct. Whenever someone said Rattata, I was just like, what are you talking about? That's not the right Pokemon. What's your favorite fossil Pokemon? Also enjoying the vids. Well, thanks for enjoying the videos. I'm glad. I'm putting a lot of work into these, and I hope that they're improving every time I release a new one. Honestly, my favorite Pokemon that's a fossil is probably Cradily or Aurorus. I really like their designs. I think they're just both so cool. But Kabutops and Omastar are both very special to me. I used an Omastar in my first playthrough of Yellow, and Kabutops is like, it has scythes for hands. Like, it's just so cool. If you could make your own Pokemon, what would its name and typing be? So, I want to make a Pokemon based on the Canada Goose. They're honestly kind of fierce birds, and it would be a flying fighting type. I'm awful at naming things though, which is on display in every video when I nickname my Pokemon, so it's probably best if someone else came up with the name. But definitely Canada Goose and a fighting type. When playing Pokemon casually, do you level 1 or 2 main Pokemon, or do you try to level all 6 as evenly as you can? Also, does pineapple go on pizza? Nope, pineapple doesn't go on pizza. That's pretty easy. But when I'm playing Pokemon, typically in Generation 1 or 2, or sometimes even 3, I'll just level 1 Pokemon or 2 Pokemon throughout the entire game. But since the EXP share has become a thing, I really like to use a full team of 6 and just try out a bunch of different Pokemon in a single run. I really like that they introduced that new mechanic in later generations. What's your favorite glitch in the game, either now or when you were a child? So when I was a child, I really liked the missing no glitch, because obviously it could duplicate your rare candies and you could get some really rare Pokemon surfing along the edge of Cinnabar Island. I actually went to the extent of going to Blockbuster Video, and they rented video games there. And I actually rented a copy of Pokemon Blue because my parents wouldn't let me buy another copy because I already had Yellow. So I rented a copy of Pokemon Blue and played through it with Nidoking just so that I could get to the missing no glitch to level up a bunch of my other Pokemon to be level 100. Nowadays, I'd say that my favorite glitch in Generation 1 is definitely the badge boost glitch. I think it adds a different layer of tactical strategy to some of the fights. I know that these games are really broken and easy anyways, but this glitch really makes me think in a different way about the game that I just don't have the opportunity to do in any other game. So I really appreciate it for that. It causes a lot of creativity to come out, and I think that that's really cool. If you were a gym leader, what type would you use? So I would probably be a bug type leader. I really like the bug type. I think they're kind of underloved and a little bit underappreciated, so it would be super cool to be the 8th gym leader of a region and use all bug types. If I had to put together a team of bugs really quickly to be a gym leader with, probably my ace would be Butterfree. The Pokemon before that would likely be Golisopod, and then I'd probably have to throw a Venomoth in there somewhere. Like, I know it's grass flying type, but it does kind of look like a bug and it's based on a moth, so we could put it on my team. Do you play competitively? Wouldn't mind seeing a battle video here and there. No, I've actually never played any competitive Pokemon. I think that really comes out in my videos because I don't always know the type chart or the effects of moves very well, especially in these generations. I'm working to improve those kind of things. I'd like to get to a point where I'm really, really confident in the type chart and always making really consistent choices within the game, but that's just not where I'm at right now. I never really got into competitive battling just because of the amount of time it takes to breed a competitively viable Pokemon. I know that you can just use like PK Hex and just generate the Pokemon, but honestly, is that really legal? And I probably wouldn't feel very good about myself if I competed in that way. So for me, it was just never something I really got into. But I am interested in it, and who knows, I might get into it in the future. So perhaps battle videos will come at some point in the distant future on this channel. One thing that does intrigue me even more than competitive battling though is speedrunning. What I've really noticed with these challenges is that I started off thinking that people wanted to just see people beat the game with ridiculous Pokemon like Magikarp and stuff like that, all the weakest possible Pokemon. So if you look at my channel, you'll see that all my early videos are mostly with quite weak early stage Pokemon. And then as I made the challenges, when I would get really busy one week, I would just decide like, okay, I guess I needed to do it with a stronger Pokemon this week just so I can save a little bit of time. By doing this, I stumbled onto two different realizations. The first of which is that I think people are just really hungry for more Pokemon content. I don't think it's so much about, can someone actually beat the game with this Pokemon that it's almost impossible to beat the game with? I think we've proven that as a community. It's pretty possible to beat the game with almost every single Pokemon. I think what people want is to connect with other people who also love Pokemon. And then I think the second thing that I realized is that I personally really enjoy playing through the game as fast as possible, instead of playing with the weakest possible Pokemon. So you may have noticed as of late, my challenges haven't been with Pokemon that are particularly weak. They're more with obscure Pokemon that I think are interesting, that don't get a lot of love or maybe are underused. And then on the other side of that, I'm doing the race videos, which are with usually strong Pokemon, and I'm trying to see which one can actually get through the game fastest. So this led me to the realization that perhaps sort of at heart, I'm a speedrunner that never really got into speedrunning. So in the future, I actually hope to kind of dabble with some speedrunning. So I'm going to do my research on it before I make a video on it. I don't want to just like show up and have no information and just kind of stumble through it like I did with most of my early Pokemon Challenge videos. So if I ever make a speedrunning video, it will be well researched and I will have done my work. Next question, what's your girlfriend's favorite Pokemon? Her favorite Pokemon is probably either Bulbasaur or Mimikyu. I think she really likes the fact that Bulbasaur is just like really cute. She actually has a Bulbasaur stuffy. And then she also really likes the fact that Mimikyu just wants to be loved. Like, it's so cute and it's spooky kind of ghost thing. She likes spooky things. She's really into horror movies. So anyways, Bulbasaur and Mimikyu. I don't think I'll get to a Mimikyu run anytime soon since it is a Gen 7 Pokemon? Yeah, it's a Gen 7 Pokemon. And but I'll probably actually get around to Bulbasaur pretty soon. Okay, this next question's an interesting one. What are the biggest changes you hope to see from the next generation of Pokemon games? Such as animations, mega evolutions brought back, inclusions of a complete national dex, access to other regions, etc. Well, I'd really like to see an open world game, and we're going to get that in the Arceus game. Arceus? I don't know how to say that one. That's a pronunciation that I'm bad at. Anyways, I'm really excited to see what they do with that. I'm sort of cautiously optimistic that they're going to pull it off really well right now. And going for another cliche, I would really like to see a return to a second region in a main series game at some point. I honestly don't think we're going to get that one, but it would be cool to see in the future at some point. Alright, next question. Which generation had the best designed Pokemon? Okay, I think this might be kind of a hot take, but I really like the designs from Generation 6. I think it's a really solid bunch. I specifically like Pokemon like Dragalge or Clawitzer. I think that those Pokemon are like really cool. I also really like the legendaries from the more recent games. So yeah, I really like the designs from Generation 6. I know that's kind of weird. There are also these two guys, and I don't like them. So they're definitely the Pokemon that I like the least from this generation. But other than that, I think it's a really solid bunch. An observation I made at this point in the run is that Mew is making the same time as Magmar did in this portion of the game. Mew gets only a 4-second lead in the Erica split. Additionally, if you've watched my Snorlax video, you'll notice that both Snorlax runs are significantly faster than Mew. Roughly 4 minutes and 30 seconds faster. Why is the Sleepy Bear with awful speed faster than this cute legendary cat? I played this run before the Snorlax runs, and because of that my routing here is significantly worse. I don't utilize Dig as much as is possible in the Misty and Surge portion of the game, and I heal way too many times. Additionally, the movesets between these two Pokemon are very similar. A lot of them are physical attacks, and Snorlax actually has a better base physical attack than Mew does. Additionally, it knows Rest, allowing it to skip more center visits on early routes like Nugget Bridge. So, I could improve Mew's time here by using some of the routing that I did use in the Snorlax video if I chose to repeat this run. In the Celadon portion of the game, Mew gets access to a lot of new TMs. Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Rock Slide, Tri-Attack, and Psychic. The last of which is our first stab move, and it's really going to speed things up. With it, we can easily defeat the Rocket plotline and get Earthquake in Sylph. Together with these two moves, Mew is going to progress faster through the game than any Pokemon I've used to date. While we watch it steamroll the next portion of Kanto, I'll answer some more questions. These ones are about my channel, my content, and some of my future plans here on YouTube. Okay, first question. What got you into doing Pokemon challenges for YouTube to begin with? So this story actually starts all the way back in 2016. If you check my channel's About page, you'll notice that this channel was actually created back in 2016. Since then, I have wanted to make Pokemon content fairly consistently. It's always been something in the back of my mind that I've thought about. Originally, when I first made the channel, I tried to make a top 10 video, but I had absolutely none of the skills required to produce videos. I couldn't write scripts, like my writing has always been awful. I couldn't record because my voice is awkward. I kind of like pause in awkward places. I don't like the sound of my voice. Then on top of that, I thought, well, my game knowledge isn't great and I'm not a competitive player, so I don't really have any like advantage, so why would anyone watch my content? So I just gave up and didn't make anything. Then a few years later, I actually came back and produced some Let's Play videos, but they got basically no views, and so I sort of gave up after that. Then finally, this year in the summer, I decided that I needed to learn to do video editing for a different project that I was involved with for marketing. And so I thought a really fun way to learn Premiere Pro would be to play through and then sort of try and replicate one of J-Rose's videos. So I thought, I'll just play through with my favorite Pokemon. I'll just play through with Butterfree, and then I'll edit a little video and I'll learn like the basics of the software so that I can at least poke around in here and change a couple things in a video if I need to. Turns out I really enjoyed playing through the challenge, and basically the next day I sat down and played another challenge, which was Butterfree without Sleep Powder, because I thought Sleep Powder made it too easy the first time. And then from there I just kept making the videos and said, well, I'm just going to release one every week and see how it goes for a little bit. And I was honestly about to stop uploading again, but then in December, a bunch of people showed up to the channel, sort of in a landslide. I have no idea where they all came from all at once. And that really motivated me to start working on this more seriously and continue uploading regularly. So thanks so much for watching, liking, commenting, all those things. Everyone here really does motivate me to continue producing these videos. So thanks so much. Okay, next question. Do you think you'll ever do another challenge run in a game other than Pokemon? If so, what games are you thinking? I kind of make jokes about this in a lot of my videos, but I'm a very, very obsessive and special interest focused person. I have my things that I really like to do, and I don't like to do a lot of things outside of those specific things. So in this case, Pokemon has been a lifelong special interest of mine, and I just don't think that there's another game out there that I would want to create this type of content with. So for now, I'll probably be sticking to exclusively main series Pokemon games for content for this channel. Would you ever consider doing a Safari challenge like Tauros vs Kangaskhan? Yes, I would. It's planned, it's coming out in July, so stay tuned. Have you ever done a Nuzlocke? Are you planning to do a Nuzlocke? I've only ever done 2 Nuzlockes before. I did a Nuzlocke in Generation 7 and a Nuzlocke in Generation 1. I really want to do a Nuzlocke in every single generation and upload them to this channel in sort of a long form format. So episodes that are somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour and many episodes in a single series. So it's the sort of long form content that you can put on in the background, that sort of thing. And I also think that long form content really fits the Nuzlocke genre really well because you need time to sort of grow an attachment to all the Pokemon and all the different characters. Otherwise, it's not particularly engaging. So I'm not going to be doing a Nuzlocke in this format, but I'm considering doing it in another format. Next question. Will you do a video with your girlfriend to verify her existence? You can name it Scott's Hots. Yeah, she'll probably be a guest star at some point in the future. I'm not sure when, but she'll probably show up. What's your most anticipated project on the channel? 2 projects come to mind immediately. The first one is a 4-way versus race between the trade evolutions from Generation 1, and the second project is some form of long-form series episodic content, probably a Nuzlocke, perhaps a Let's Play in Generation 4. So yeah, I'm really excited to start that content up. Which Pokemon did you have the most fun solo running? Dunsparce. I really enjoyed that run. The surprise of Rage being really good at the early game was really nice, and then how tanky Dunsparce was just incredible. And then after that, it became just amazing late game with Return dealing so much damage. Also, it was really fun reflecting on the run after and then trying out a different strategy for the major fights in the late game. So the Elite Four and Red. Rollout is incredible, and so it was just really fun to explore that and sort of do a second ending to the video. And those are sort of becoming staples now in my videos. I think it's going to be more likely than not that you're going to see a second ending in most videos. Do you ever consider doing runs in other games like Gen 3 Plus or other Pokemon games? Yes, I intend to do videos and challenges in all generations of Pokemon. I'll be rolling out the generations sequentially, so the next generation that I'll start doing challenges with will be Generation 3. I'm not going to say exactly when that's going to be, but it is coming soon-ish. What ultimately would you like to achieve with this YouTube channel? I've been thinking about this a lot recently as the channel has started to grow. I honestly really love making these Pokemon challenge videos, and I would love to continue doing it long term. So right now I'm just going to work as hard as is possible and try and get as much content out there so that the channel grows to a point where hopefully it will become self-sustaining. What are your plans to keep yourself from getting burned out? Well, honestly, I just like to work really hard, and this is really enjoyable for me so far. But I think in the future, I'll likely have to scale the release schedule down slightly or enlist some extra help from other people to help me produce these videos, because I don't think that I can keep up this rate indefinitely. Anyways, speaking of getting burned out, at Blaine, I expect Earthquake to be incredibly powerful. It knocks Ninetales out in a single hit. Rapidash is next. But it survives and lowers Mew's attack with Growl. Then Arcanine comes out and tanks Earthquake like a champ. It uses Fire Blast and does a lot of damage to Mew. This is turning out to be close. It goes for Flamethrower and it does, oh my, a lot of damage. Mew only has 9 hit points left. I land Earthquake and I knock it out. That was way too close. Back to questions. What's your favorite type? Is it different than your favorite type when you were younger? My favorite types when I was a kid were Water type and Grass type. I liked them a lot because I felt they were really powerful in Generation 1 because they had special moves. So they made quick work of Onix and Geodude and those kind of Pokemon. Now I really like the Bug type. I really like most of the Bug designs. I think they're all fantastic. If you can choose one YouTuber to collab with and they can't refuse, who would it be? Either J-Rose or Madrybread. I would really like my versus races to actually become sort of like going head to head with other Poketubers in the future, but I'm gonna wait until my channel and my own knowledge develops a bit before I try and make those sort of collaborations happen. Sabrina is gonna be easy. This is largely because I resist her psychic moves. I also know Body Slam, and Mew has great attack. Alakazam does manage to survive my first hit, but I knock it out on the second turn. I always remember this fight being really tough as a kid. I thought special moves were the best, and I just never used any physical moves. This is what you deduce when you play the game and you can't read. You go up against Brock, and then the game teaches you that using tackle, quick attack, and slam are bad choices, but using confusion, water gun, ember, and vine whip are good choices. This fight hasn't been tough recently though. It's more annoying in solo challenges if you can't outspeed the Abra. It caused a lot of issues for Snorlax, Aerodactyl, and the fossils. By the way, I'm very excited about Kabutops vs Omastar. The script has turned out to be a gargantuan 16,000 words. That's roughly an hour and a half of material. So, would you prefer 2 shorter videos or 1 long video? It will divide nicely into 2 parts. It creatively works that way. I'm not pulling any The Hobbit trilogy marketing tactics on you and telling you that it will be fine this way when it really, really isn't going to be. I dislike those movies a lot. Giovanni opens with Dugtrio. I can easily knock it out with Bubble Beam. Why not Surf, you might ask? Well, there's no move deleter in Generation 1, so I'd be stuck with it forever. I figured Mew is good enough anyways to get through with Bubble Beam. Since it's a legendary, I didn't spend much time planning when to teach it certain moves. Once Persian is out of the way, I get surprised by the fact that both Niddos survive and land 1 hit against me. I'll show my Mew's stats before the league, but it's much more of a physical Mew than a special Mew, and this is probably why it didn't knock them out. Rhydon is last. I use a 4 times effective Bubble Beam, and it survives. Blizzard definitely would have been better here. It lands Rock Slide, and Mew survives with 5 hit points. This is the second gym that I just barely made it through. As I make my way to the league, here's the final block of questions. These ones are miscellaneous, and are about my personal life, Pokemon, gaming, and the channel in general. If you were a shape, what shape would you be? I chose this question because I think it's so quirky and I love it. I think I would be a trapezoid. It's kind of weird, it's not particularly well balanced, and it's usually forgotten. People always think about triangles and circles and squares and stuff like that, but where's the trapezoid love? Do you have a girlfriend? You never addressed this in the videos. So, I do. And my ego is like super worried now because you asked this question, because I feel like I've addressed this many times, but that's okay. I can just like up the number of references per video. So like Dunsparce, I think, was 3 references. Maybe it needs to be something like 5 references, something like that. I'll definitely work harder to convince you that I do in fact have a girlfriend. Did you ever get caught playing Pokemon by your parents when you weren't supposed to as a kid? I actually never did. I think my parents just thought that I was really honest and I wasn't actually like up playing in the middle of the night or playing in the washroom on weeknights. I can still remember holding a flashlight under my chin so that I could see what was going on the screen under my covers. I would just be listening to the stairs for any creaks in case my parents were coming downstairs to check on me. In those cases, if they did, I would just have to like roll over and lay on my Game Boy for a while and hope that they didn't try and come and talk to me or something like that. Years later, I actually did tell them that I used to sneak and play in the middle of the night or in the washroom and those kind of things. And they actually told me that they never suspected it. So no, I never got caught. I was a sneaky kid, I guess. These questions are all about the creative process, so I figured I'd answer them all at the same time. My current creative process for these videos is extremely iterative. I try to make improvements in every video, and with every video I'm trying to add something new. It might be something very subtle that you don't even notice, like it's not visual, you can't see it, it's something behind the scenes, but I'm always trying to improve at least one thing going on to my next video. I have a creative pact with myself, which is that I'm always going to release a video every Sunday. Because of that, I have to really prioritize the things that I want to fix moving forward into the next video. There's still a list of things from like 2 months ago that I want to implement that I just haven't had time to implement yet because I'm holding myself to this schedule. So yeah, it's an iterative process and I can't always fix everything I want to at that time. Here's the step-by-step list that I go through in my videos currently. It's not always been this way, and if you look back at some of my older content, you can probably tell some of the steps that I skip. So the steps are planning, graphical work, filming and scripting, editing, audio recording, audio editing, and then finally video editing. After all that's done, I do have a review step at the end now, but I've only started doing that since the Snorlax video. I probably should have been doing that all along. I've sort of dodged the aspect of this question, which is how much time it takes me to complete each one of these steps. And quite honestly, that's because I just don't know. I don't time myself while I make these videos. The only aspect of it that I do time is exactly how long I spend playing the game. Right now, this ranges from an hour and a half to about 6 hours if I'm playing through Generation 2 with a Pokemon. Beating Red and training up to level 100 takes a lot of time. I would say it takes about 3 times as much time to write the script as it does to play through the game. And then it takes about that amount of time again to edit the script and record it. After all that's done, I think that editing the video is taking somewhere around 12 to 14 hours currently, but I'm not entirely sure. Those are the last 2 videos that I've produced. Both Aerodactyl and Snorlax I edited in a single day, and they took just over 12 hours that day. For the video that I mentioned before that is coming up, which is all about my creative process and how I make these videos, I am going to time myself on each of these steps. So we'll get an actual metric for exactly how long it takes me to complete each step then. That video is going to be coming out in late June, so stay tuned for it. I'm really excited about it. It's also going to include a solo challenge, so it's going to be both process oriented and all about the nitty gritty, like how I create these videos, but also about how do I beat a game with a specific Pokemon. It will be watchable in the way of just tuning in and just watching the Pokemon challenge portion, and then you can just tune out for the rest of it if you're completely uninterested. But I'm personally really interested in process-oriented thinking, and so I really want to make this video just because I kind of like nerding out about it. I'm also fascinated with the learning process that I'm going through. It feels like by the time I finish each video, I've sort of come to a new level of understanding about the game. I really felt that with my Snorlax video. By the time I finished production on the video, I was basically thinking about the game in a completely different way. I saw so many different options with Snorlax that would have been better than the 2 routes that I ended up taking. So this makes me want to go back and remake videos that I've previously made before. So if you'd like to see challenges with Pokemon that I've already done, let me know in the comments below. I don't really want to make them if they're not going to get very many views, just because it takes a ton of time. I'm ready to take the league on at 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 48 seconds. Despite poor early routing, Mew has actually arrived here with a better time than any other Pokemon that I've done a Pokemon challenge with in Generation 1. The last 2 gyms shook my faith slightly, but I believe that we can get this done. Here are Mew's stats. Unfortunately, this Mew is actually pretty bad due to its low special. I wonder how fast this could have been done if I had a Mew with perfect special. Lorelei is first. I tried this fight once, starting at level 49. The strategy was spam Thunderbolt and see if it's enough. It isn't. I need a little bit more refinement to be able to do this at this level. I think the answer here is to learn Rest. The next fight, I actually get significantly better luck. I one-hit the Cloyster, avoiding its clamp. That move is awful. It's really getting me. I think it's the next Sand Attack. Then I paralyze Slowbro and one-shot Jinx with Earthquake. On the previous fight, I really shouldn't have used Body Slam against it. Lapras brings me down to low hit points, but my second hit is a critical hit due to my base speed, and I knock it out. I heal Mew, and I skip saving before Bruno. I'm doing these solo challenges without saving between league members now. It's more exciting for me to play it this way, and it gives us an idea of a rough level that this Pokemon needs to be to get through the league consistently. Bruno, of course, is a joke. I can just spam Psychic here and make my way through him with ease. So I actually read his text here, and he said, I train with my Pokemon, and then I realized, oh, he's not training his Pokemon, he's training with his Pokemon. So like, he's bench pressing his Onix. Agatha is also going to be easy. I realized here that I hadn't updated Mew's moveset in forever on the overlay, so I took a couple of seconds to do that. Then I get down to spamming Psychic or Earthquake 5 times. Psychic is better here since I get stabbed, but both of these moves are going to get the job done. We need to get the Pokemon Theory Poketubers onto the question of if Agatha's Pokemon were caught as ghosts or if they were alive and then they died. Maybe she was young and they were all Clefaibles and Clefairy. So we need at least like a couple hour-long videos dissecting this. Now it's time for Lance. Here I learned Blizzard in the place of Thunderbolt. While scripting, it's pretty clear that keeping Earthquake is probably a mistake, and that I'm gonna have to pay for that later. Thunderbolt is really useful against Gyarados and Cloyster. I'm able to get to Aerodactyl, but I'm struggling to keep my health high. Because Aerodactyl has 130 base speed, it gets a 25% chance to crit. It lands one and knocks Mew out. As per the rules, I have to complete the entire league again. I didn't want to waste time, so I figured that a few additional levels will make the Lance fight more consistent. I use some rare candies and take Mew up to level 54. This makes Lorelei slightly easier. Bruno and Agatha were never an issue. They just waste Mew's time. Because Rest wasn't particularly useful during the first playthrough of the league, I don't learn it. This allows me to forget Body Slam for Blizzard against Lance. Earthquake will be my go-to physical move from now on. I'm betting on the fact that Thunderbolt will take care of Gyarados, and Blizzard will be enough for the Dragons. There is not going to be any way to heal. Thunderbolt gets the job done against Gyarados, and Blizzard follows suit with the Dragonairs. Aerodactyl outspeeds and lands a massive Hyper Beam before I knock it out with Blizzard. Mew is going to outspeed Dragonite. I really just need Blizzard to hit. Thankfully, in Generation 1 it has 90% accuracy, so it lands and I've defeated the Elite Four. I reflect briefly on my moveset and decide to face the champion without Rest. Stall tactics aren't working well with Mew. Blizzard takes care of Sandslash. I use Earthquake on Alakazam, but it survives. Luckily, I resist its attacks, so this isn't as scary as it usually is. Blizzard two-shots Executor, which allows it to set up Leech Seed. Now I'm on a timer. I need to one-shot as much as possible. Cloyster survives Thunderbolt, gets paralyzed, but still lands an Aurora Beam. Ninetales also survives, and then I knock it out with Earthquake. Luckily, I didn't get trapped in a really long fire spin. Jolteon is last. It outspeeds and uses Pin Missile, which is a bug move that is super effective against us. Luckily, it has low attack, and this move is 15 base power, so Mew tanks it pretty well. I finish off Jolteon with Earthquake. Mew beat Pokemon Yellow with a time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 52 seconds. That's my best time to date, and my second lowest level finish. That's the proper portion of the video, but if you want to know what happens when Mew is allowed to save between league members, stick around. If you're enjoying my content, like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, grab a dome fossil, and share with a friend. Also, remember that I'm a cool guy because I have a girlfriend. I'm also extremely knowledgeable because I've finally figured out that Venomoth is a grass flying type. No more game mistakes because of that now. Ice Beam all the way. If Mew saves between league members, it becomes possible to beat the game at a lower level. I'm going to reset the timer to the time that Mew previously started the league at. This allows us to get a sense if one approach is faster than the other. When I attempted this, I got immediately walled by Lorelei. I needed 6 attempts at this fight to finally beat her. Because I'm allowed to save, there's a psychological aspect to this play. It feels like I'm very close to getting through, so I just try again instead of leveling up. These repeated attempts add a lot of time to the clock. Mew does need luck to get past her Lapras. However, this is fairly easy to come by. Lapras can miss with Hydro Pump, or I can get a critical hit with Thunderbolt. Each of these scenarios has a roughly 1 in 5 chance of playing out. Too bad it took me 6 attempts to get through. Bruno and Agatha are simple again. I'll take this chance to let you know about a few upcoming runs that I'm going to do. Kabutops vs Omastar is obviously coming, and it's going to be out sometime in the next week. Then, following it will be Quillfish 1 week later, and then Stantler the next week. These Generation 2 Pokemon get forgotten a lot, and I want to take the time to make videos on them. I've never used either of them before, and I'm really curious how well they'll handle Johto. Following that, it's going to be my first Versus video in Johto, Steelix vs Scizor. Lance opens with Gyarados. I use Psychic against it and I get a critical hit. Then I get a special drop and he heals with a Hyper Potion. It damages Mew with Dragon Rage and then fades. The Dragonair are fairly easy to deal with. I take this opportunity to heal up a bit before using Blizzard to knock them out. Aerodactyl comes out. Here Blizzard knocks Aerodactyl out and I outspeed Dragonite. Only one attempt required for Lance. The first 3 Pokemon on the Champions team go down like the previous attempt. However, due to my lower level, Executor is a 3-hit with Blizzard rather than a 2-hit. Also, I needed to add Rest to my moveset because my level is lower. That means that I no longer have Thunderbolt. This could make Cloyster really annoying. I luck out and get a special drop on my first Psychic against it, and that allows me to knock it out in only 2 turns. Ninetales forces me to heal, which is a bit risky because I could get caught in the Fire Spin Leech Seed combo. This time I don't, and I knock it out. Jolteon is last. It uses Pin Missile and only hits twice. Okay, Earthquake, make me the champion. Jolteon survives with a sliver of health. It uses Pin Missile and hits once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and Mew survives just barely with 5 hit points. That is a seriously clutch finish to an overall easy run. This time, completing the league actually took more time with saves than without. I could have done it in a similar amount of time if I had just used rare candies immediately or gotten better luck against Lorelei. I really figured that I was going to be able to get the luck against her earlier on. Other than that, Mew managed to defeat all of the other league members on its first attempt. Another big thanks to all my patrons. Your support means the world to me. To everyone else, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you've watched this far, you're incredible. See you next time.